They call it the city that never sleeps, the city of dreams, the Big Apple, the crossroads of the world. It's said that if you can make it there, you could make it anywhere. So they come from across the globe with bags full of hopes and dreams, and the city welcomes them. But dreams are rarely what they are believed to be, for while the city may never sleep, still night falls. And it is in the night that the children of Cain wake and play out the masquerade in my city. Beware, children, lest ye fall.
Hello everyone! Hi! Good Saturday morning, early afternoon-ish. I am Simon at Wandering DM. Welcome to the channel, welcome to the show. This is Vampire Nightfall, our second session. We've had a bit of a rocky start, partly because of Gen Con and other real life stuff, so we were gone for a few weeks. But we are back now, and with a shorter session today, unfortunately. But we will be back every week from now on. As you saw in the intro, I am playing Sid Zimmerman, the Gangrel PI, I guess. And with me I have a cast of amazing players, one of which is going to be slightly late, so we might have a bit of camera shenanigans to fix, partly in the show. But otherwise, let's introduce everybody else and get this party started. And I'll begin with the owner of our house, of our domain, Mr. Scott.
Hello, I'm Scott. I'm at Berserker_Rage in Twitter and on Twitch. I'll be playing Alexander Erickson, as Simon said, the proprietor of the building we all reside in.
And a new addition this week, who wasn't there in the last session, our basement-dwelling friend, Quentin. How are you?
I'm doing really well. I'm excited to be here. I am at Fragan in Twitch and on Twitter, and I'm just really excited to do vampire things.
Who are you playing?
Oh, I'm sorry. And I'm playing Herschel Akers. He does computer stuff and hides in the shadows, and everybody loves him.
Cool. And to wrangle us around New York City is our storyteller for this adventure, Deirdre. I'm leaving the mic up to you. right after I shill the fact that this stream is also brought to you by Magen Press. And Magen Press, the makers of Dark Matter and other amazing adventures books, such as Taverns and Tankards, The Complete Alchemist, The Complete Craftsman, The Complete Gunslinger. You can go on their store at store.magenpress.com, and if you use coupon code WanderingDM, you get 15% off everything. Now that the shilling is done, why don't we get the ball rolling? Deirdre, take us away.
Well, good afternoon, all. Welcome back to the hot summer in the city of New York, 2019. When last we checked in on our vampiric friends, Sid Zimmerman and his associate, Mr. Alexander Erickson, Esquire, had been approached by Alexander's primogen of the Ventru clan, one Jessica Pearson, with an offer and a request of dealing with a small problem that had developed in New York. They two, plus their friendly neighborhood neonate, Toreador Auden St. James, took Miss Pearson up on her invitation to the opera and learned that exactly what it is that she wanted them to attempt to accomplish. Twofold. It turned out to be, once they returned to their abode, that on one hand, the individuals were attempting to close down certain vampire establishments throughout the city, and were gaining some modicum of success using the modern social medias and the bureaucracy of the city. And on the other hand, there was an upswing in kidnap for profit. Kidnap is a business. Vampires being taken off the street, held for ransom, and then released. They learned that a couple of these vampires, some of note, but none of name, if we are going to quote the bard, a few of them were released near the small occult shop in Lower Manhattan, owned by one Rebecca Leibowitz, a interesting individual that Mr. Zimmerman has had extensive contact with before, and Mr. Erickson some modicum of such. They made their way to her establishment and learned that while a number of these who had been kidnapped for profit were then released in Manhattan after the ransom had been paid, the Malkavians that were being kidnapped managed to keep escaping and then getting re-kidnapped before their ransom was ever paid. They also learned that one of the Bruja that had been kidnapped and ransomed he and his fellows did not take it quite so kindly when Miss Leibowitz was not as forthcoming with answers. And she made a point of saying that those charming Bruja were going to make a small ruckus the next night. And that's where we left our vampires. So we'll wind the clock forward a little bit to the next evening, as just before the sun sets, and it's hot, it's still hot. You can feel it in the air, the humidity, the general oppressiveness of nature itself in the city. As Sid awakens upstairs and downstairs, there's also noises coming from below, street level of this brownstone in the basement, where we have, well, who do we have, Quentin?
So we see just computer light, probably 2 or 3 monitors set around, and he's a very handsome Nosferatu, but to everyone else, he's basically an abomination. Yeah, it's probably just boxes and stuff all stacked around him. And he's just constantly just typing away, looking at things online, and he pretty much keeps to himself until he's asked to do something. Yeah, that's what I got.
Well, Mr. Zimmerman, I'm quite sure as you awaken this night, you can hear the loud sounds coming from your basement, but they seem to have stopped the banging of whatever heavy construction work Herschel was engaging in to set up his massive amounts of computers. And now just seem to be the sounds of, well, all of those processors and CPUs and, oh wait, all of the cooling towers that are probably being engaged to keep, well, this hot summer night from blowing up a couple transformers.
I think I'm gonna head downstairs to the basement. Avoid the windows.
Well,
I mean, I assume we have blackout curtains or something.
oh god, it's New York. You might need, just because, buying blackout curtains isn't something that you'd necessarily do for the light, but just because who wants to look into your windows? No one. Also, you're lucky that your main windows face north-south, as you are a brownstone tenement and you have buildings technically on either side of you, east and west. So, not a lot of windows on the sides of the house.
Good. Less sun.
Mm-hmm. So as you make your way downstairs, going all the way down, or just down to your office?
No, I would go all the way down to the basement. I need to update Urshel on what's been happening last night.
Herschel's there. How hard is it to get your attention, though, Herschel?
It's probably pretty hard. I'm super focused. So as he would come down, I'm moving boxes. I probably didn't even notice that he came down. There probably isn't even a door. It probably is just a stairwell down into the basement, and it's pretty black down there. What would I address you as, Simon? Would it be Mr. Zimmerman, or?
No, you can call me Sid.
Okay.
Mr. Zimmerman was my father.
Is there someone there?
Yeah, it's Sid.
What can I do for you, Sid?
I'm always spooked by this place. God, I can't believe it. I just wanted to update you as to something you've been missing. We had been invited by the Ventru Primogen to the opera. Not something you'd wanna, not somewhere you'd wanna go, I wager, but things have been happening in the city, and I wanted your opinion on a couple things. You're computer genius. Have you noticed anything on the internet about foreclosing vampire-owned establishments?
Deirdre, would I have noticed anything?
How up to date are you on social media?
Mainstream or like back alley
Mainstream.
stuff?
Mostly mainstream.
Not really. Probably wouldn't get into the mainstream stuff that much.
You might have seen a couple upticks in certain complaints going into various government offices, but not necessarily tied it to what and how it was getting there.
Mm-hmm.
I can see Herschel being aware of more the government, how the government bureaucracy is functioning, because that ties to what he's interested in.
Mm-hmm.
And so you might see it's like, well, there are more complaints, but you don't know why these complaints are coming in or where from.
Mm-hmm. It appears that there have been more complaints than taking of properties that I've noticed. Do you understand?
Yeah, I'm not that slow. Complaints coming from who, though? Is it targeted harassment?
You could look at it that way, I suppose. If the various owners were all connected.
You would know that the owners of these establishments are all vampires, but they're not necessarily all connected. There were a
So
couple...
they wouldn't be from the same clan?
No, it's almost across the board. A goth club owned by the Tremere was closed down for health and safety violations. The fire marshal closed down a kind of, not an Elysium in the official capacity, but something that was kind of an unofficial Elysium, watering hole welcoming to all vampires. It fronted as a cigar bar, smoking bar, which is why it was closed by the fire marshal. Apparently didn't maintain its fire codes.
It appears that the closures have been seemingly random, not targeting specific vampires or clans themselves.
But someone's definitely targeting us.
Yes. Us as vampires.
You don't have to put any emphasis on it. I know we're vampires. Aside from that, we might have a brawl tonight. I don't know if that's something that you're into.
A brawl? With whom?
Couple of Brujas coming to rough up a friend of mine.
A friend of yours or a friend of ours?
Well, technically she's a friend of mine, but also a friend of us.
Why would they want to rough up your friend?
Well, that's something we're gonna have to ask their bloody bodies after we're done with them.
You would hastily run into a fight without knowing why?
I don't like them threatening one of my oldest contacts in the city.
Interesting. I will come along. If not for the sheer pleasure of the event.
You're creeping me out, Herschel.
Good.
Alright, well... His Majesty... Yeah?
When will we be leaving?
As soon as His Majesty wakes up.
Oh, him. It could be a while.
Yeah, She's a very deep sleeper. Auden should come with us too. I haven't heard any of her insufferable music coming from her bedroom today. So I wager she's still asleep.
Being down here, I don't hear her music much. Though I could pull some up on my computer for you.
You would hurt both your ears and mine.
Probably so. This opera you went to, what did you talk about there?
Oh. We didn't talk much. It was mostly Miss Pearson doing the talking. She laid the situation bare for us, what's been happening in the city, and tasked us to retrieve a missing vampire. I was only half listening. This is all Ventrue stuff, so Alexander can probably tell you more about it.
Do we know anything about this missing vampire?
I'm sure Sid would remember, but Simon doesn't because it's been a while.
She asked you to deal with the kidnappings as a whole, but the most notable kidnappings that are still missing are the Bruja, 2 Malkavians, but the one that stood out the most is a La Sombra, new to the city, who had various appointments with various members of maybe just under the Primogen members of people that are very tied to the Primogen Council. A sect diplomat, if you were. Tall, female, blonde, dyed hair is what you had of a description, but no name.
Yeah. Tall, blonde lady belonging to the La Sombra clan. A diplomat of some sorts. Very important target, apparently.
Do we know where she was taken?
Pearson didn't give us any information on that.
What would they want with Malkavians, I wonder? This is intriguing indeed, Sid.
I know.
And she wanted us to look into both things, correct? Why the businesses are being targeted and the missing vampires?
Mostly the missing vampire first.
As of right now, I don't have many ideas, but the internet is full of answers if you know where to look.
The only thing I've been looking at on the internet recently was pictures of animals. It's the easiest to find, really.
What animals do you like looking at? I hear cute kittens are popular.
Yeah, very. It's too bad we can't have any in the house. I would have settled for a dog, but y'all are gonna scare it to death.
Perhaps a turtle.
A pet turtle.
I hear they're very popular.
you can't do anything with a turtle?
I assume you can. You can look at it, feed it every now and then, throw it in water and see what happens.
This has got to be the most boring animal.
While that riveting conversation about reptilian pets amphibian pets is occurring in the basement of the brownstone, Mr. Erickson, you awake this night. Slightly odd for you. Your phone goes off. You've received a couple text messages.
Anything important?
A request to dine at your convenience with Mr. Koto at the Cameroon ambassador's house.
I'll send a reply asking when.
As soon as possible.
And then I'll wait, but reply back. Tonight will be fine.
Just give your name. The guards will know who you are.
And then I'll make my way downstairs.
Finally reaching the first floor, you would hear the riveting conversation about turtles and what types of pets that they could be conceivably made into. Theoretically.
And I'll, from the top of the stairs, I'll just kind of mention down towards Sid. When you're done dealing with turtles, we might have a few things to discuss.
You can come down here if you want to discuss them. Plenty of room.
I'd rather not dirty my shoes, Herschel. But
Indeed.
thank you.
So, I guess we meet up in the conference room. I ask Alexander.
That's fine. I'll be waiting.
Herschel, you want to come up, or did you install one of these weird little boxes that you can hear from? The intercom or something?
Let's say that I didn't. I'll join you.
And I'll make my way upstairs.
The sun is fully set by now. It's still, well, for you all in your undead state, comfortable, but you can smell the ozone and the heavy rot of seaweed as the East River turns. Hear a couple foghorns in the distance as ships move in and out of the harbor. Another night in New York. And Alexander seated at your conference table, which he had bought as a very fine dining set. Intricately carved, heavy wood, 18th century English, antique, that Sid has appropriated for other reasons.
There's probably like a blood stain in the shape of a mug where I usually sit. Which, if I were mortal, would have been a coffee stain, but in this case, it clearly is just my morning cup of blood.
whatever gets you through the night.
Well, looks like we have a bit of an issue. It seems the Sabbat have, an agent of the Sabbat have asked me to dinner. And I'm not quite sure what to make of this.
Well, you said no, didn't you?
For the sake of hearing what it is they're asking for, no, I didn't.
You think he would turn down a fancy dinner?
No more than you would turn down a rat.
Delicious.
So you've agreed to meet with the enemy.
Well, I mean, they're within the constraints of the Camarilla, of course. I mean, no one dare defy our prince. No one with half a brain, anyway.
I say you're playing with fire, Alexander.
You're probably not wrong. But it could be something worth looking into. It may be related to our other issues going on in the city.
You're right. They could kidnap you.
I wouldn't put it past the Sabbat to try and undermine the Camarilla, and especially from within the city.
Urshel has a point. If they are the kidnappers, maybe we could use you as bait.
I mean, that's all good and well. So I told them I'll be meeting them tonight.
Wait, tonight?
Tonight.
Well, we have the meeting with Leibovitz.
We can go manhandle a few brouhaha. I'm sure that'll be a pre-dinner meal.
You sure you want to feed on brouhahas?
Well, I didn't mean myself.
Well, I know too well what the penalty is for diablerie. I'm not going to attempt that.
I need not a lecture on the Camarilla rules. Besides, I'll leave diablerie up to... Well, leave that up to Mr. Mir.
Just you invited to dinner.
Well, yes. It's with it's at the Cameroon embassy. So, there's a particular Sabbat there that attempted to sire me, and, well, needless to say, they're probably still a little bitter about things. So we can at least see what they're wanting to do, and I would assume I could count on, well, the rest of you to await and see what happens.
Would you like us here or nearby?
I mean, within a reasonable distance, preferably. Some more distant than others.
I will be close by.
Of course.
We could always wire you with a microphone in case something goes wrong.
No, they'll probably be expecting some sort of a pat down or something, so it should be fine. I mean, if I don't come out of the building, well then you'll just have to storm the embassy. I'm kidding, of course.
Indeed.
But I will allow Herschel to check maybe an app on my phone that he can turn on to keep tabs on the location of this, and I'll hand him a burner phone that I have that I'll take for the dinner tonight and pass it over to him.
I'll turn on the location tracking.
How many phones do you go through in a week, Mr. Erickson?
Depends on what I'm doing for the week.
At this point, there's a ringing of a phone coming from Sid's office.
Oh, and it's my old...
Landline?
Yes, it's an old landline, but the phone also is this old rotary phone. Because of course. So I pick it up. Zimmerman.
Hey! Sid! Are you coming over, or are you gonna hang out?
No, we're coming. We were delayed, but we're on our way.
Okay, good. You might want to be a little bit more, like quickly involved in this because, that didn't look good. That didn't look good at all. Ooh, that's just mean.
What's happening?
Well, it's New York, and a bunch of Brujah decided to get into a fight with a bunch of, gang members. It's fine. It's fine. Oh, that's dirty pool. You shouldn't have done that. That was just okay. Now that was okay. That was an okay fight.
Okay, we're on our way.
And she's kind of like left the phone kind of dangling as she's begins commenting about the coolness or incoolness of this fight that's occurring in the middle of Delancey Street in Lower Manhattan.
I'll hang up, turn to Alexander and Herschel. We have to go. The Brujahs are there. They've already roughed up a couple humans.
Then away we go. I'll stand up and put my hood up. Because I assume I wear like some sort of robes.
Robes? They have hoodies. Maybe a sweatshirt.
Definitely robes.
And the thing is, it's New York. The only thing anyone would check with this gentleman walking by in robes in New York would be to make sure that he's wearing something underneath them.
Yeah, really trying to look as pretty downtrodden.
As long as he's wearing something underneath and isn't going to turn into a streaker or a flasher, no one cares. And probably most people wouldn't care about him being a flasher. There might be some, but, you might not get the reaction that you'd like. So now that Rebecca has called and that there's an actual problem, are you making yourselves quickly there?
Yeah.
Do we call around the limo or?
For 15 blocks across town, you can.
It's gonna take us
Get
longer.
there quickly.
It would definitely be faster to go on foot.
And it's lower Manhattan, so these are very small blocks actually.
Wouldn't want to get your shoes dirty.
Typically, no. That's why I don't go into the basement.
Can we table this discussion about the sanitary conditions of the basement and make haste?
Yes. And we'll head out.
It's earlier in the night, so as you move with purpose and stride through Chinatown, there are hawkers on the street. couple street vendors you have to walk your way around, the smells of various things coming out of various kitchens. And contrary to rumors, most Chinese restaurants in Lower Manhattan are not serving dog or pigeon. There's a lot of chicken. And that one over there, you're not sure what it is, but it's not any domesticated animal that you're aware of or have scented before. As you hurry through the streets to the Delancey Street and Canal Street corner where Chinatown meets the Lower East Side of Manhattan, and you see, you hear, when you're about a couple blocks away, the sounds of a fight and the sounds of people betting and yelling about the fight, as it has become a bit of a scene downtown.
I guess peering from a distance, I'll lean into Sid. This doesn't look well for us.
What are the numbers looking like, Deirdre?
Observers or combatants?
Combatants.
Taking a minute to observe. Well, someone roll me perception alertness. Or you can all roll it to see what you see.
Perception, alertness.
Just 6.
Oof, 1 success.
That's slightly better than we started with last week. Ooh, Herschel's rolling well.
You're a success.
Yep. So, Sid, you're moderately distracted. You're focused on getting through this group of people. You can kind of clock that there's a group over here of obvious brouhaha. There are a bunch of what looks like a Chinese street gang, not triads, just a bunch of kids mostly who are getting into it and yelling obscenities over on one side. And there doesn't seem to be anybody in front of Rebecca's door per se at the moment, but there looks to be like somebody had thrown a trash can and it had bent across a lamppost and knocked over a couple things in front of the store, but the store itself seems to be unharmed. Sid, Alex, you are kind of tracking large groups of people. It's a little difficult for you to figure out exactly who's where and who's doing what. You can kind of see, well, those are vampires and those are humans, so those are the problem. Herschel, you look at this situation and you notice a bunch of things right off. The observers are mostly locals. Again, mostly local kids. Yeah, I'm using kids in the term of anywhere from 15 to 25. It's summer in the city, it's hot, they're looking for something to do, and oh look, a fight broke out, let's take care of that. There's maybe 10 of them, 15 at the outside, somewhere around there.
Yeah. Why is Nathan sad?
We can hear you, Scott.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. We want to know why Nathan's sad too. You notice that there are about 5 brouhaha. One is immediately noticeable. They're a mix of races. However, they're all male, or at least male presenting. The guy leading the charge in the center is tall. 6'6", 6'8", maybe. Long, blonde hair. Full beard, but close cropped and trimmed. You can tell that he's ripped because he's running around the city without a shirt on. He's got large, but he's wearing a couple long, full necklaces and like that cross between yoga and like sweatpants that guys wear to the gym. Sometimes, like literally, you look at him and go, "Oh, if you didn't come off the cover of a magazine, to model gym wear, you literally came from a gym." And given the amount of musculature that you're showing off, you probably did actually work out. Maybe when you were alive. Who knows if you still do now that you're dead. There are a couple other, there are 4 other that are backing him up. You notice that one has started to move towards, away from the fight itself and towards the storefront that's there. It's a cult shop. You see a lot of very interesting things in the window. This individual is also white, younger looking than the leader of this pack of Bruja. Dark hair, man bun, beard, dressing in black, kind of look like he knows how to move sort of quietly through the shadows.
And he's moving towards a storefront?
Yes.
The storefront.
He's moving towards Rebecca's storefront.
Mm-hmm.
And how many humans do we have around?
Well, you've got about 10, maybe 15 observers, and about 7 or 8 members of this gang who've incited this fight. Herschel would notice that 2 of them seem to be on the ground, not moving.
We have to get these damn people out of here.
How do you think we should do that?
I'm going to activate all.
Okay. Okay. I need to do a thing then.
All should be easy enough not to break any rules.
Theoretically, yes.
Theoretically.
Yeah, they'll just all stare at you.
And then I will tell them to get the hell out of here.
I'm just gonna make this easy on me. For the humans, it's relatively easy. The majority of the Watchers are young. They don't seem to have much willpower in and of themselves. They kind of look at this obvious person who stands out. How are you currently dressed, sir?
Well, in a well-tailored suit. With enough ease to move in, so in case if I have to get my hands dirty, I can. But, I mean, it's a very nice suit that I'm in, so very professionally dressed.
So a gentleman that's very professionally dressed, walking into this situation, fully command, the immediate thought that they have is cop, and most of the kids run. A couple of the gang members stay long enough to make comments about your mother and the closeness of the relationship she may have had genetically with your father before you were born, before they're overcome by awe and run away as well. Doing so, however, definitely attracts the attention of these Bruja. The leader is now turned his attention directly to you, and just kind of gestures with an offhand towards the gentleman who's moving towards the store. He seems to stop. The gentleman moving towards the store seems to stop, look at you, notice the gesture of his, pack member. You're not sure. And continues on, but kind of takes a point of turning to stand with their back to the store and in between you and it. Not attempting to enter it this yet, but preventing
us from getting in. Okay.
No, we're really gonna have to go through you.
Well, so is the group leader, the Bruja, still looking at me?
Yes, at the moment.
I'd like to use Dominate.
He seems to feel it, and you see that it's starting to take effect, and then he kind of shakes his head, snorts at you, and curses and says, "Well, aren't you like every other Ventru I've ever met?"
Not at all. Any other ones might have let you live.
I'd like to see you try. Ventru haven't fought in their own fights for what? Ever? What are you doing hanging out with them, Gangrel? You should be joining us.
Yeah, but I'm not in the mood for assaulting poor little shopkeepers. What do you want with Rebecca?
I want her to tell me what she knows.
About what?
About the unfortunate incidents going on around. She doesn't seem to like me very much. I wonder why that is. I look quite appreciable to most kind.
If you show up fangs out and all Bruja, yeah, you're gonna scare people.
Says the vampire whose fangs haven't left his face since we've been talking.
Be careful what words you choose next, Bruja.
Well, the mutt has a voice. Interesting. Is this your attack dog, Ventru?
He's not mine. I don't own him. He's of his own free will. But I'm assuming he just has better taste than the Bruja.
You just kind of see him cock his head, glance over his shoulder to the remaining three, one of whom is an African-American gentleman about the same height as him, so 6'7", 6'8", also very, very ripped, although he has a shirt on and like looks like he's put together. The other two are both mixed race. Yep. Mixed race. If you want to continue to try and dominate him, you can roll for it. He gets to roll willpower again. It's gonna be a 7.
Sorry, I should have specified I wanted to use command.
Oh, command? Yeah.
Yes.
Go right ahead.
So, what is that? Manipulation and intimidation.
Yeah, he just kind of shakes his head and feels what you're trying to do and glances over his shoulder. Does anyone here speak any of the Scandinavian languages?
I would, because Alexander is Scandinavian.
So he says something in Norwegian. Sorry, I had to take a moment to figure out what I had done. Which basically amounts to, well, this is done. Let's get him, basically. So now you've got 4 Bruja who are running at you, and a 5th who's who's turned away from the fight and is now looking very intently at this door as if trying to figure it out.
I certainly hope Rebecca has tricks up her sleeve.
So Deirdre, I might not have like fisticuffs, but I have like firearm skill. Like, do I needed to like buy a pistol like during
No,
character
you.
creation?
I can say that you would have a gun. You would probably have managed to get one. We can also say that our wonderful Toreador, hello Auden.
I made it.
You did. Managed to show up fashionably late to this party, as they are wont to do.
We sent her a text message while she was doing her makeup.
Looking fabulous to a fight. But
On brand.
very on brand, it's fine. And the large Bruja leader basically is going to throw a punch at Alex, and his second, the large African American gentleman, is going to try and pin the gangrel mutt.
Bring it.
So, as I always do this, PCs have the right to roll first. They've described what they're going to try and do, and if you succeed in your attempts, then they fail.
Okay.
So.
I would like to dodge said punch.
Okay, so you're going to then roll what is it? It's dexterity brawl or strength brawl?
Oh, so
Or dexterity dodge, excuse me.
okay. I have points in dodge, so
Yep, go right ahead.
all right. I'm assuming difficulty 6.
Mm-hmm.
3 success.
Minus
negative 3 success. So that went horribly wrong.
Oh no.
The dice do not like you, Alexander. As you, instead of going to dodge, you step the wrong way and spin, and there's just this small crack in the pavement that catches the heel of your very fine leather shoes, with their non-rubberized soles, and you fall into this punch hard and hit the ground. You're dazed for this round as he gives you a massive concussion. So, Sid, this gentleman's gonna try and pin you to the ground.
Yeah, the moment he comes within reach, the claws come out.
Mm-hmm.
And I just slash him across the chest.
So, brawl, dexterity brawl or strength brawl?
Dex brawl.
Dex brawl. Go ahead.
Also, can I activate celerity at the same time?
You can.
I have one
Go
point of celerity, so I think it just adds 1 die, right?
It adds 1 die in this. Yep.
Okay, so Dex brawl pool mod 1. 4
Ooh.
successes.
As this large Bruja goes to try and pin you to the ground, you kind of step out of the way, anticipating him, and just grab your claws. Where are you aiming?
The chest.
Right across his chest,
Yeah.
ripping open his very finely embroidered, intricately embroidered shirt and drawing blood. He kind of shakes his head and is a little dazed by that. At the same time, the other two try and go for Herschel, but they're not quite as...
They're the unnamed thugs.
Yeah, they're the unnamed thugs. I'm sorry, they're unnamed thugs. And they kind of have this moment of, they're running at you. They know you're a vampire. I want to see something. They manage to look underneath and see underneath this hood and still attempt to swing at you. They're not they're not entirely phased by the massive hideousness and the stench coming off of you.
Yeah, 10 out of 10, I'd like to dodge.
Dex dodge.
Dex dodge.
6. All you're rolling is for 6. The two of them managed to both get you and have kind of grappled you between them, and are turning back to look at, they're the second who's managed to who's dealing with Sid, and their boss who's got Alex, dazed on the ground. Auden, is there anything you'd like to do?
I think I'm going to walk up to this, staring at the phone, going, sorry, I was in the middle of sending a tweet. What did I miss? Oh, okay, then.
So right now, there's a very large, ripped, blonde Bruja who's looking to rule another punch and beat the crap out of Alex. Sid is holding his own and actually causing damage at this point. Herschel has been grappled by 2 other random Bruja, and there's a kind of hipster young Bruja trying to break down the door of Rebecca's store.
So I don't really have fighting skills per se, because I am a delicate flower. But
A rose as you are.
I do have a good amount of streetwise things. So, and I have some stealth. So I think I want to sneak up on the hipster guy and just kind of throw him back away from the door. But I want to be as sneaky as possible about it. Mind if I just announced myself?
So, sneaky. Sneaky.
Sneak.
All right. That is stealth. Subterfuge or stealth?
I think because I want to get him away from the door, I think it goes to subterfuge, probably.
Okay, then.
Kind of messing with him in a way.
You can roll manipulation, subterfuge.
That is how we'll do it. And difficulty 6, here we go. 2 successes!
He doesn't seem, he's very focused on this door that he's trying to deal with. He seems to, be pulling his hand back every time he tries to go for it. And doesn't seem to notice you there. So as you come in to kind of shoulder check him out of the way, he stumbles back away from the door and kind of turns, grins at you, and says, well, if you wanted to dance, darling, all you had to do was ask.
I mean, you picked the tempo. I'm here to have a good time.
Dance off!
We have accidentally run into Footloose. I think maybe it would be wise for you to not mess with this door. It seems our people are having a little bit of a fight, and I don't know about you, but this is not my shall we say, forte. So,
but it's definitely mine, darling.
You're the strong type then, are you? I am definitely going to be using as much term as I possibly can to speak this. So,
You want to roll that charisma performance on this?
I do, because I think Auden is gonna turn on the flirt a little bit to try to distract this guy.
We're over here fighting and she's getting a boyfriend.
If it helps the cause, she's gonna do the Oh, the strong type, like to twirl her hair a little bit and like do like really lean into like the I'm adorable kind of thing.
Okay, so go ahead and roll.
Ooh, more successes. 3.
Well, darling, if you want it like that, I can give you my number. We can talk afterwards, but I've got business right now. As you see, my boss is
Oh,
a mite busy, and he asked me to deal with this door, so I'm gonna deal with this door. But y'all hold on. Alex, as you're currently coming out of being cold clocked by a brouhaha to the ground, with him kind of leaning over you, going to like hit you again. Is there anything you'd like to try and do?
Oh, we might as well try and tackle him from the ground.
So strength brawl or dex brawl?
Sweep the leg, sweep the leg.
Probably strength brawl. I don't think
Okay.
it matters. Either one. It's the same. Brawl or... That's what I wanted to ask. Brawl or melee? What's the difference?
Melee is usually a weapon, but if you have melee, we can go with that.
I have melee. I wanted to carry a knife, but I wasn't sure.
If you've got a knife, you can pull. You can rule 9 this.
Do what? I'm sorry.
You can rule 9 this.
What does that mean?
Never mind. For those of you who acknowledge the fact that I'm an uber nerd, Gibbs rule 9, always have a knife.
Ah. No successes.
But no crit failures.
No crit failure.
Things are looking up.
Things are
Right.
looking up. Things are looking up for you. You managed to try and move out of the way. Can't really get out of the way of him. You've got the knife in your hand now. That's as effective as you can get.
Okay.
Sid, he's gonna come and try and he's a little pissed now, so he's gonna try and break your arm.
Yeah, I figure. So, the claws deal aggravated damage. I hope he realizes how much of a threat I am.
You kind of get the impression that he doesn't seem to care.
Oh, that's a shame.
He's still bleeding, and he's pissed about the shirt. And you see that his eyes have kind of started to glaze over in a way that you are nominally familiar with.
Ooh. Well. Yeah, he's gonna get a second pair of claws to his face.
Going for the face. All right.
Yeah,
Roll out attack.
I wanna leave him with a nasty scar if he survives this at all.
Good. Go for it.
Four successes. Again.
Out of curiosity, how many points do you have in either melee or brawl?
I have 3 points in brawl.
What is your specialization?
Oh, that's true. I didn't choose it. But it would be unarmed.
You have 2 10s there, sir.
So I can
Would you
reroll
like?
them?
You can re-roll them to see if you get added successes.
No, I get nothing else.
Okay, but 4 is still respectable. You scratch again at his face, and this time kind of bring a giant claw across the from left to right across his sole of his face, seriously damaging an eye. In the process, he doesn't manage to quite get it closed in time, and you see him kind of spin dizzily and kind of spit blood. He's still up, but he's looking a lot more messed up than he was a minute ago. But he's now even angrier, and his gaze is not meeting yours. Herschel,
Yes.
you've got these 2 Bruja who are holding you.
So what I want to do with my loosely fitting robes is I want to like slink out the bottom of it.
So you want to roll this manipulation then? How would you choose to do this? Or subterfuge?
Yeah, I could do that. Manipulation, subterfuge.
Manipulation, subterfuge? I'm liking this.
These aren't in order. Oh my god. Oh, there's subterfuge and manipulation.
I will say with one success, you manage to get out of this robe, which, God, Herschel, you better be wearing something underneath this robe.
It's probably like a sweaty, like white t-shirt and like probably like sweatpants.
Okay.
Just so crunchy.
But better than nothing.
Yeah. You know, some New Balance sneakers probably.
Oh god. Like
It's a look. It's a look.
Like a crunchy stepdad that is spending his hard-earned weekend off just not showering and watching bad sports games.
Yeah. You managed to get out of these robes and kind of onto the ground. You can't quite get away from them yet. You've broken their grapple. Auden, as you watch this gentleman go to turn back to the door, get frustrated, seems to kind of reach his hand down and grasp, roll it into a fist and kind of just keep pumping it. And you see the veins on his arms and on his face get thicker and start to move. And he just kind of goes to full on punch the door. And you watch. Are you going to do anything?
I think, again, I am not a physically combative character, but I think I'm gonna keep the cute face, but go for a hip check kind of move. I don't really have. I'm not really sure what skill I actually have that would do this, except for I feel like this would just be a streetwise thing, kind of trying.
It could be street. It could be streetwise. It could be Dex streetwise, I will say.
As he pulls back, you just slide in, grab his arm, and start dancing.
I'm definitely trying to use this as I'm trying to be coy and cute, but I am 100% trying to knock him off balance.
He's not focused on you, so go ahead and roll. He's gonna try and break down this door.
All right. Here we go. Oh, no success. Oh.
He seems to step out of the way. Oh, no, wait, wrong way. Sorry. There we go. And manages to hit the door, and you hear a kind of crack in the glass, and then he starts to scream. And you see him pull his hand away, and there's cuts where you would expect blood to be flowing out. But you also see something that looks almost like electrical burns across his fist.
I'm gonna dodge the hell away from him. It's that's my cue, and zip zop out of there.
Exit stage left even. The wonderful Alexander, you've got your knife in your hand. He's gonna try and hit you again.
I'd like to try and dodge the hit.
Would you like to try and hit him as well, or just try and dodge? What is your goal here?
I'd like to dodge the hit and stab him with a knife.
Okay.
What would you like me to roll?
Brawl. Brawl or athletics? Or, excuse me, brawl or melee?
We can do melee.
Okay.
With, assuming...
Dex or strength, your choice.
Doesn't matter, the same dice pool. 3 successes.
You manage to get out of the way of this hit and graze him with this knife. He doesn't seem to be much bothered by this cut that's slowly bleeding on his arm. He kind of glances at it, snorts, and says, well, at least now you have teeth. Sid, this gentleman is not looking well. He also's kind of dropped to full fang and looking at you in a very glazed manner.
Oh, did I hit a nerve?
He kind of snorts at you, but doesn't make a verbalized response.
I'll, give me 2 seconds. I have to check something about animalism. He's probably frenzying or close to that.
It would not be hard for you to make that assumption.
Can I do that?
What do you want to do?
I will... Do I have to burn blood? No. I will use Quell the Beast on him.
Ooh.
And
he has to roll willpower against you, right?
I roll manipulation plus empathy to soothe it into complacency. The difficulty of the roll is 7.
Yep.
And I need to gather as many total... It's an extended action, as many total as he has willpower.
Okay.
Yeah, to make it completely complacent.
Mm-hmm.
So... What's my empathy? 2, manipulation 2. Ooh, oh boy. Plus empathy. And
We'll
it's
see how this
difficulty
goes.
7. No successes. So I just look at him and I go, down, boy. And nothing happens.
He grunts at you, and kind of dazedly tries to move towards you. You could tell that his frenzy is being slowly overtaken by the damage you've already dealt him. He's still bleeding, too. Herschel.
Mm-hmm.
What you doing now that you're on the ground?
I want to pull up my gun and shoot one of them.
Go right ahead and shoot this Dex gun, or Dex firearms. You managed to shoot one of them. Which one, on the right or the left?
Since they're both unnamed, I'll do the one on the left.
He kind of screams and like drops whatever he was holding and reaches for his shoulder, and he just goes, "You shot me!"
Then I'll shoot you again if you don't leave me alone.
Boss, you didn't say they had guns! That's not fair! To which response, the gentleman that Auden has been watching try and break down this door, doesn't seem to do anything except he's screaming in pain and clutching his hand where he punched the door. Sid, the Bruja that's with you, have you turned off awe? Or command, excuse me. No,
Me.
Alex.
Yeah.
Sorry, Alex. Wow.
I mean, I thought command required direct eye contact.
Yeah, command requires direct eye contact. Have you turned off awe?
Correct. Yeah, I turned off all when everybody's scattered.
All right then. Purely informational. He kind of glances away from you to see the gun in Herschel's hand. Do you want to do anything?
I'd like to take the opportunity to stab him while he's not looking at me.
I will say that you have 2 extra die because he's distracted by the gun that
Okay.
he brought into the battlefield.
Try not to fumble, Alexander.
2 successes. Good. You managed to stab him in the thigh, right above the femoral artery. Don't manage to hit the artery, but you've definitely got your knife kind of close to somewhere that he's kind of concerned about. Hey, Sid. You watch as this tall Bruja turns to you, not even reacting to the gunshot that just went off, and goes to throw a punch, but he looks, even in his angered state, extremely drunken. I'll say, depending on what you want to do, you have 1 extra die to whatever you choose to do.
Hell. How far away am I from the boss?
Where Sid's on, where Alex is on the ground?
Yeah.
Less than 10 feet. I mean, you came up together, right?
Yeah. So he's dazed and confused. The other one is almost within arm's reach. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna, instead of focusing my attention on the dazed, frenzying one, I'm gonna turn and rake my claws on the boss's back.
He's turned
Just
his
like-
head away to, down the back of his shoulders. Are you trying to do real damage?
Oh yeah, I'm trying to do as much damage as possible.
Cool. I'll say you have 1 extra die because he's currently dealing with the knife in his leg.
Difficulty 6?
Mm-hmm.
1 success. Oh wait, I get to re-roll a 10.
Mm-hmm.
1 success.
But you overcame those crit fails. You managed to scratch down on him, but he's a lot tougher than you expected. It's like, oh, this is a guy who runs around without a shirt, and he can't actually justify it for against damage. You see blood, but not anywhere near as much as you were expecting or hoping. And he's kind of turned to you and is going to go and throw a punch at you. At this point, there's a loud bang, like a firecracker went off directly behind all of you. And I need everybody here to roll willpower. Or, excuse me, not willpower. Self-control. Courage, self-control. Courage, self-control.
Oh no, it's not in the things we're allowed to roll.
Okay, then willpower.
But my courage and self-control is a better dice pool.
Yeah.
Then roll whichever. You can roll it manually as a dice pool then.
Let's see.
Got those 3 successes.
Wait, you were able to roll courage plus self-control?
No, willpower.
Okay. Well, screw it, I'll roll willpower.
So 3 successes from Sid, 3 from Herschel, 3 from Auden. We're just waiting on Alex.
Yeah, I know.
One success. You managed to not be immediately deafened and frozen in place by this loud light firework, something going off. And for each of you, it seems like it's directly behind you, but you're all spread out, so that can't physically be possible. The 2 gentlemen who were holding Herschel, one of whom you shot and was bitching about being shot, both clutch their heads loudly and just kind of fall over. The frenzying gentleman that Simon seems to kind of shake his head and goes to glare back at Sid and Alex as if to try and turn his attention to that, and then goes to move towards you and just kind of collapses. Probably you're thinking from blood loss rather than whatever just happened. The gentleman next to you, Auden, screams and goes to reach for you and just kind of pulls one, like manages to get a hand just on your shoulder before he also falls to the ground. Now all you have left is a gentleman with a knife in his leg, scratch marks on his back, a displeasant attitude, and a desire to beat the crap out of Alexander.
Can I say I bring out the best in people?
What would you like to do, All?
I think I'm going to get away from the dude guy. I mean, take courage and try to go help Alexander. I don't know how. I don't know if it's just grabbing Alexander out of the way.
Oh no, I would like to pull this knife down across his femoral. Since it's right in his leg, might as well.
Go ahead and roll that melee.
Nope, no success.
You put your hand on this knife as if to pull it, and he kind of reaches down and grabs your hand and holds it in place as if to not let you do that. And now he's got his other hand bringing up to come and swing towards your face. Sid or Herschel, is there anything you'd like to do?
I'd like to shoot the pretty boy. Not Alexander.
Thank you for that distinction.
Yep. Yes, thank you for clarifying.
I mean, I was pretty
I was
sure you
slightly worried.
I was pretty sure you were going to wait for him to punch him at least once before doing anything.
He did punch him once.
He's already gotten hit once.
Go ahead and shoot if that is your choice. Ooh, 5 successes. You fire, and it kind of goes right through the middle of his back, exiting out the front, and a large spray of blood that kind of goes across Alexander's face. He kind of grunts as if this is more verbal reaction to pain than he's had in you aren't sure how long, but it's a reaction. And he kind of turns to you, glares. After I'm done with this one, I'll come deal with you.
Am I still in back of him?
Yes.
So you know the bullet hole that he has? I want to take my hand with my claws, do something like this, and go inside the hole and just make it bigger as I reach my old arm through it.
Dang.
Oh, Sid is like this. I'm fed up.
Go right ahead.
I think Auden's just gonna watch this whole thing, just be like, "Oh my, ugh."
So what would that roll be?
I think it's gonna be.
I'm gonna say that's brawl. That's definitely brawl. But I will say, because you're intentionally targeting a hole and damage that he's already got, I'll say you've got 2 extra die on this one.
Eight successes.
Plus 2 rerolls. Roll
10
again.
successes. 11 successes.
Are you desiring to kill this Bruja?
If I can, and that's gonna be... I want the damage, it's aggravated damage, so it has to hurt like crazy.
Oh, it does. It does. The intention is, do you wish to grab this Bruja's spine and pull it out through this bullet hole, or do you just want to put him on the ground?
I'm gonna make a nemesis out of him. Let's say the bullet hole is like here or something.
Yeah.
So I want whatever I did to also basically tear away the arm.
So if
he
you want
has
to come
like
through,
a gaping...
the shot went through the middle of the back, angled through the torso, exiting out the upper right shoulder near the scapula and the shoulder blade, and you're going through that bullet tract and crushing and ripping out the scapula and shoulder blade.
Yep.
Cool. And you see him scream in pain and pass out. As his arm is effectively... Well, it's still technically attached because the muscles are there, but none of the ligaments and none of the bone structure are holding it together.
Would you say that Sid is disarming?
I knew it.
I would say that Sid is very disarming in both his appearance and his,
My arm is covered in blood.
Yeah. You've got two mostly undamaged younger Bruja holding their heads in pain on the ground. You've got the gentleman that the African American gentleman that Sid ripped up his face and his torso also kind of passed out from blood loss on the ground. The gentleman that was trying to get in the door of Rebecca's is... that scene, those images of plaster cast victims of Pompeii who are kind of reaching out to try and grab something without the being an ash kind of look. Kind of laying on the ground in front of Auden, almost in supplication to her and begging her assistance. And then you've got this Bruja leader kind of messed up on all over the ground. Sid, you can definitely mark down that you now have a 3-point nemesis.
I am calling him the Disarmed Bruja.
You might find somebody who knows his name eventually. At that, the door kind of cracks open, and you see Rebecca's head kind of peek out. Oh my god, that's a giant mess. Are you gonna leave it like that, Sid?
Yep.
Ugh.
It's
honestly.
Or wait, is there a is there a sewer grate nearby?
Yeah. There's also a fire hydrant nearby.
We could open the sewer grate and just drag them all in. Ditch them in the sewers.
I'm actually not opposed to that. I think that's a great idea.
The sewers are a wonderful place. Throw them in an alley.
You should go there too, Herschel. You can make sure that the bodies make it and then stay there.
I'm sure Herschel knows the sewers better than anyone.
We can put them there if you wish. And I'll put my robes back on.
Also, I'm just gonna say, Auden has taken so many photos on her phone of the bodies and the disarming that she will definitely be using for later.
For whatever it is that Auden uses them for, as
art. It's for art.
Whatever it is that Auden uses them for. Rebecca is kind of there's a hose right over there, and you can hook it up to the hydrant right there and get rid of this. Just get rid of all of this.
It's a pretty sight. Why would we want to get rid of it?
because it will not bring customers into my store, Herschel. I run a classy establishment. None of this bullshit.
Right now, you're also gonna have to have someone repair your door.
Yeah, it's kind of got a glass crack. And you look at this door. Go ahead and roll perception alertness.
Two. Hey, Scott, you're having the worst of luck.
Really am. The dice do not like me.
Alex is kind of like gingerly holding his jaw as he stands up and is dealing with the massive amounts of muck that is now on this $1,000 tailored suit. It's probably going to want to burn and replace. Good thing he knows a tailor on speed dial. But you look up, Sid, and you look at this door, and you see just a tiny crack in the glass pane, kind of radiating out. Hairline fracture.
I thought he hit it harder than that.
Well, he tried to, and then he kind of... Remember how I said, like, not to touch things in my store, Sid?
Yeah.
It's kind of why you don't. But are they all gone now?
Well, if we're putting them in the sewer, I figure we're having this discussion as we're dragging the bodies.
Yeah.
Oh, Auden. What do I do with your new boyfriend?
He's not really my type. You can just throw him in the sewer.
Yeah.
Sometimes things end when the dance ends. You can waltz right out of here.
As we put the grate back on, I just like, sweet dreams, Bruja.
The person I'm laughing at this, Auden would not have any, like, just completely stone-faced.
Rebecca kind of laughs at that. She finds it funny. She finds most things funny. So, thanks so much. Real big help. Sorry you're going to have, like, some massive problems with that guy. He's a dick.
Oh, well.
What did they want from you?
They wanted information and they weren't really polite in asking, so I said go away. I wasn't going to talk to them.
May I please have it?
Since you asked so nicely, Herschel, what do you want to know?
What they wanted to know.
The same thing I told Sid last night. The Malkavians keep getting kidnapped because they keep getting not released. They keep escaping and then they get kidnapped, and they're being held somewhere in like the subway system. I'm sure. Whatever. But that's a giant mess, and I don't go down there if I don't have to, unless I'm actually taking the subway. God, nobody drives in the city. You should never ever drive in the city. Oh, and she kind of cocks her head and turns and looks at Alex. You're gonna want to change your suit before you go to dinner.
I think he looks lovely.
No one else does, Herschel.
Oh, Herschel, we can't keep all of our appearances up. Is yours?
I'm also gonna have to stop by the house and change. And I'm just licking my hand as I'm saying that.
Do you want to use the bathroom?
My clothes are basically ruined.
Yeah, you're right. There's nothing on that. I'm not gonna lie. That's not working. Mm-mm. But it was kind of nice to see. Oh, by the way, Auden, can you send me those pictures? They can go in my scrapbook.
I need them for something first, and then you can have them.
And she kind of tilts her head. But I thought you really liked that, like, barista kind of thing.
It's for art. I don't need to explain my process to you. That's not how that works.
I don't understand. I don't do art. I'm a businesswoman and I do other things. I don't do art. But
it's a process. And when the process is complete and I have a piece to show you, I will show you. And then, yes, you can have the pictures then.
okay. Yeah. I just like, I have a whole collection of, well, it's part of my, evisceration collection. It's fabulous.
It sounds lovely. She's already Autumn's already like back to Twitter.
So if there's nothing else, have a good night. Thank you so much. Bye.
Tweet. Send tweet.
Also, you might want to let Mr. Kodo know that his guest is probably going to be very late, Alex.
I'm sure Mr. Kodo will. Well, he'll just have to understand.
Oh, no, not you. His other guest.
His other guest?
Well, I'm assuming you didn't find her yet. I know Sid's good, but I didn't think he was that good.
Wait. Who does Mr. Kodo have?
I think she's talking about the La Sombra.
So that's where she is.
Mm-hmm. Sophia. She's nice. For a La Sombra.
That looks
And,
like I'm
Rihanna.
too far off.
Do you know anything else about Sophia?
She has a very, very complicated relationship with Toreador that I'm aware of.
With a Toreador or the
It's not me,
Toreador?
for the record.
Oh, no, definitely not you. With a Toreador. Her
Okay.
relationship... Okay, I mean, like, if you want to talk about codependence... Like, I remember how I said that, Sid, you and Alex need, like, a couples therapist? Sophia and her... Yeah, they wouldn't need a therapist.
Do you know the name of this Toreador?
She kind of thinks and goes back through her mind and kind of twitches and goes back. I think it's Ishmael? No, that's not right. It starts with an I. It's from DC. I don't know. I don't pay attention.
Thank you. You've been most helpful.
See, politeness works. Not like that. You show up and try and hit my door, I'm not going to be nice. But you're polite, Herschel. I appreciate that.
Indeed. So I like skulk into the shadows.
But you're still creepy. Like, that's really creepy. So, anything else I can help you with tonight?
I think we're good. As always, I appreciate it.
Thank you
Yeah.
for all of this.
Well then, have a good night. I'm going back to me time. Like, there's a marathoning once upon a time. It's great. Bye. And she kind of closes the door behind her. Leaving the four of you standing on the street, on Delancey Street in New York. The blood still dripping off of Sid. A large bruise slowly fading from Alexander's face, still covered in mud and, well, other things that you might find on the roadway in New York. Auden focused on her Twitter and Herschel being creepy in the shadows, as Herschel does.
Alexander, you should cancel your dinner plans. We should go into the subway and look for him.
We should probably find out why they have the La Sombra. I think that's more of what Jessica's looking for. The last thing the Camarilla wants is a war with anyone over a missing diplomat.
The objective was to bring her back.
There's obviously a reason the Sabbat have her. We should probably find out what that is.
Could we not simply ask her once we've found her?
Well, if Kodo has her, then she's in the embassy.
Could it just be that Kodo doesn't have her and she's gonna be late because she's been kidnapped?
It's very possible.
It's what Rebecca was trying to say.
And I'll text the number back stating, apologies, dinner canceled, perhaps another time.
A few moments later, you get a response. Understandable. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow night. And
They do not like to be cancelled.
nope.
And then I will just text back emoji shruggy.
Emoji shruggy to a La Sombra elder who's attached to the Cameroon embassy. I'm impressed, Alex, with your Ventru hubris.
Very bold. Very.
However,
So does he have a price on his head now or later?
we'll find out when we return to New York next week, as I think that's where we're going to leave the night tonight. But how we doing?
Good.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. So, having fun still?
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Herschelus turned out better than ever expected.
I couldn't have pictured a better thing than what we've got.
The most nosed you'd ever nosed. I'm sorry your rolls were so bad, Scott.
Just roll 20 hates me. It's okay.
Yeah.
But, Simon.
Yes. Hey, thanks everyone for coming. Thanks to you all for watching. Thank you for hanging out in chat. Thank you for those of you watching through YouTube, the VOD. It is greatly appreciated. We love you all very, very much. I am Simon at Wandering DM. This is my channel. We are sponsored by Mage End Press, the makers of Dark Matter, which is a game you can see streaming here every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. If you go to their store at store.mageandpress.com, you can use Wandering DM as a code to get 15% off of everything you want to buy. We will be back on Tuesday, for Dark Matter. You can find me also on Monday on Role Players, GMing Age of Arcana, my homebrewed campaign setting, which is a Mage Punk D&D 5th edition setting. And otherwise, you can find us again on Friday for Castle Falkenstein, and next Saturday for some more vampire goodness. This time we're going to be streaming at our regular schedule, which is from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. That said, let's go around the table. Tell us who you are, where we can find you on the internet. And let's start with our Nos. You're muted.
Yeah, I had a great time playing. Thanks everyone in chat for watching. Deirdre, again, thanks for DMing another super cool place for me to run around in. And on the internet, on Twitter, I'm at Thragon. I don't post a whole lot, but I retweet a lot of these people's things. So yeah, if you want to see what they're doing through me, you can do that.
All right. And Scott.
So yeah, I'm at Berserker_Rage on Twitch and Twitter. So feel free to follow me there. You can find me here on Saturdays. I'm usually playing in this or whatever else that Simon and Deirdre lovingly invite me to. So yeah, stop by and catch us.
And last but not least, Alyssa.
Late to the party, but still here. I am at Xander Slamilton on Twitter. I'm posting on there more often these days, but not that much. And you can find me here playing with all these lovely folks and having a great ass time doing it.
Cool. And Deirdre, where can we find you?
Hey all, you know me. I'm at Deirdre Donlin on Twitter, or Praxagora Thesmioformia is you see me hanging out in the Twitch chat. And you can find me here most days of the week. You can also find me Monday over on Role Players for some Age of Arcana, as Ashlyn is now back and she's not currently dealing with res sickness. It'll be great. It'll be fun. We've split the party by 90 miles. It'll be great. I wasn't there for that decision. I just have to live with it.
Oh, the best of choices.
It's gonna be awesome. It's like don't split the party, but to an extreme. Before we leave, let's go raid our friends at Valdrianth. They're playing Curse of Strahd right now. So if you want to keep the vampire theme going, let's go and say hi to Strahd in his castle. And we will see you again next week. Bye-bye, everyone.